Seriously. You see, God, let me give you a little lesson on God, son. And sit up straight when I'm talking to you. God can do anything. If he wants to make this planet look 200 gazillion years old, he can make it look any age he wants it to look. If he wants to take 200 million years of time and condense it into 6,000 years of time, he can do that. You see, because when God put Adam and Eve in the garden, he brought them in as full adults, not babies. When I did that, I was thinking of you. He put them in as grown-ups. Do you understand what kind of God we're talking about here?
Randy, I wonder if you know what God you're talking about, because such a deceptive God could have placed things in your experiences to deceive you into worshiping the wrong God. Anyways, this is a response to Rand Campbell's video, The Little Atheist in the Closet. And I'm not even gonna address the title of the video. I'm just going to address some of the things that are inside of it. Link in the description box if you want to see the entire context of what he is saying. I'm just going to talk about a little bit of it. First of all, Adam and Eve. If you believe that two people could have been placed here on this planet and had enough genetic diversity to create all the different types of people that you see, you know, from the Africans to the Northern Europeans to the islanders in the South Pacific. If you think that those two people had enough genetic diversity to create all the different types of colors and shapes of people that we have today, then you have no understanding of genetics whatsoever. Also, if you think that those two people somehow had the genetic diversity to be able to have offspring, that they then could have offspring with their offspring and be just one big long inbred family tree for a couple hundred years and then survive, you have no understanding of genetics whatsoever. And we can see nowadays that when we get a population that falls under 50, it is most likely going to die off because of inbreeding. Whatever species it is. The lowest population that I've ever heard of was the California condor, and they had to bring in birds from South America to try to, you know, prop up that species. So yeah, two of anything dies off every time. No chance of not being inbred and passing on successful genes in order to repopulate the area. No chance at all. But moreover, you're saying that Adam and Eve were placed on this planet and they were placed as adults, not children. They were created as adults. And the problem that arises from you saying this is that God would have had to instill in them a backdated, deceptive history of their own lives. Where did these two learn how to speak? Where did they learn the experiences to draw from in order to know right from wrong, in order to have an understanding of the world? God would have had to write this stuff into their brains magically, you know? And when you say that they were put on the planet as full adults, having never gone through, you know, any puberty or life struggles or anything like that. Basically, they have no free will because all of their experiences were fabricated by God. Okay? All of their experiences up until that point where they were created, every bit of knowledge that they had at that point where they were put in as full, mature adults, that was just God's deception, writing it in there. Okay, I'm going to give you that backstory. And it is deception, okay, to completely fabricate something like that. But it gets worse. The things that you're saying, Randy, about your own God. Now, of course, in your video, you address dinosaurs. It's a favorite topic of a lot of YouTubers because it's an easy one. But I'm going to go somewhere where I don't even have much of a background in this subject. It's astronomy. Okay? Now, let's say the closest stars to us. They're Proxima Centauri and Alpha Centauri, right? They are a little more than 4 light years away, right? So light takes 4.5 years to get here. So when God created the universe, if it started right then, everything, without deception, then 4.5 years after he created everything, like you say, 6 to 12,000 years ago, 4.5 years after it started, light would start hitting us from Proxima Centauri and Alpha Centauri. And then, about halfway through Earth's history, as told by creationists, at around 33,000 years, we would start seeing light from the Andromeda galaxy from Deneb, that really bright star. Okay? Because it's 32,000 light years away. That's how long it takes light to travel to get here. But now, we've got the Hubble telescope, right? And it can be set to only pick up infrared instead of visible light, and pick up things so far away that they are 13 billion light years away. Okay? According to you, the world isn't that old. But that light that is traveling that far had to be that old because they can detect this with all sorts of means. And just to explain the arc that I just barely can understand myself, because astronomy is not my forte, it would be a tough one for me. But suffice to say, there are things in space so far away that light from them would have had to take all of known history, or, had to have been backdated in order to get to us. But if we're going to believe that your God made everything in situ, so that, like, Adam and Eve were fully formed adults, and every particle of light that has been hitting us from, galaxies thousands and millions and billions of light years away, all of that was fabricated by God in order to trick us, to screw with our minds, so that we would think that the world is older than it is, because he put that evidence there to make it look like it was older. Okay? That's deception, Randy. You are saying that your God likes to lie to his followers, or to the people who don't even follow him and won't find a way to follow him, because anytime they try to look at the world that he created, it tells them that he does not exist. Randy, you speak as though your magical explanation of the world makes you privy to more information and a perspective that is superior to those who have weighed your worldview against the science that is debunking it. When any information garnered from science conflicts with your worldview, you can just conveniently brush it all away and say that your God can magically make it seem like he doesn't exist by making any evidence that people come across point in the opposite direction. It is so convenient for you because you can just shirk off all responsibility to actually examine the new evidence that you are presented with, secure in the safety of knowing that you can just invoke the magic rule and turn in your free get out of thinking card. The problem here, Randy, is that any competing theory has just as much validity if it can disregard criticism by excusing away inconsistencies so easily, whitewashing them with magical explanations. If I want to be productive, I can't spend too much of my day trying to teach this remedial lesson over and over again. Arguing against the magic fixes anything answer is really unproductive. And when that tactic spreads, it breeds this disinterest in methodologies that uncover new facts about the world all the time. When this mountain of evidence is presented to you that does not support your creationist views, I don't blame a deceptive God, Randy. I blame you for deceiving yourself. You've had enough of the information presented right to you, and it's your own denial fueling this tactic. I really feel that you understanding my perspective, that you are to blame for the types of thoughts that you have and not your God, is the key to you figuring out why more progressively minded people speak to you in condescending and derisive tones. You impede productive discussion that advances knowledge like a boat anchor tied to a track star. When you use these type of arguments that only really serve as obstacles to fruitful discourse, and then you posture as if you know something that they don't, you shouldn't be surprised when their mockery reflects how annoyed they are with you. In fact, most of what you are saying in your video has been mocked by professional comedians for decades. Decades, Randy. Here's a little sample.
So in the Christian faith, God created Adam in his own image, yeah? So that was good. But 65 million years before that, God created the dinosaurs using the image of his cousin Ted. And Ted was not the black sheep of the family. He was the huge fucking monster of the family. And it must have been God, you know, it's not in the Bible, is it? It should have been mentioned somewhere around Genesis. You think God would have grabbed someone's arm, some scribe who was coming out and saying, but before that, there were dinosaurs who were a bit crap, so fuck them. Not in there, which could mean that, you know, maybe because dinosaurs were discovered in the 1700s, 1800s, somewhere around there. Maybe it is a philosophy, and it wasn't some bloke with a beard doesn't live upstairs. Maybe.
Fundamentalist Christianity, fascinating. These people actually believe the world is 12,000 years old. Swear to God. Based on what? I asked them. Well, we looked at all the people in the Bible and we added them up all the way back to Adam and Eve. Their ages, 12,000 years. Well, how fucking scientific. Okay. I didn't know that you'd gone to so much trouble there. That's good. You believe the world's 12,000 years old? That's right. Okay, I got one word to ask you. One word question. Ready? Dinosaur. You know, the world's 12,000 years old, and dinosaurs existed, and they existed in that time. You think it would have been mentioned in the fucking Bible at some point.
So I think under the logic situation, God, Captain God with the big beard, he must have created the dinosaurs. And Jesus must have asked a few questions like, Dad, what are these dinosaurs? What were they all about? Big, hairy, well, not hairy, were they? Big, slimy bastards. Teeth, small hands. What's that, for playing piano? Brain in the head, a brain in the bum? What's a bum brain for? I don't know. Well, I'll explain to you, Jesus. What I did was I created the world in 7 days. Then on the 8th day... Dad, are you going to do this James Mason impression all the way through?
But get this. I actually asked one of these guys, okay, dinosaur fossils. How does that fit into your scheme of life? Let me sit down and strap in. He says, dinosaur fossils? God put those here to test our faith. Thank God I'm strapped in right now here, man. I think God put you here to test my faith, dude. You believe that? Does that trouble anyone here? The idea that God might be fucking with our heads? I have trouble sleeping with that knowledge. Some prankster God running around. We will see who believes in me now. I am God. I am a prankster. I am killing me.
Yes, created the world in 6 days. 7th day, rested. 8th day, actually rested as well. 9th day, rested, because I fucking had just made a world, you know. 10th day, rested. Actually, I rested from then on, really. 14th day, I decided to smoke all the marijuana I had created, just to test the first batch. On the 15th day, I decided to smoke all the opium I had created, just to test the first batch. And on the 309th day, I woke up again, and I decided to create 500 huge monsters that I'd seen just the night before. Dad, did you have to make them so stupid? Well, I didn't know what I was doing. I was off my tits, so...
You know, you die and go to St. Peter. Did you believe in dinosaurs? Well, yeah, there's fossils everywhere. Ah! You fucking idiot! Flying lizards, you're a moron! God was fucking with you! It seems so plausible! Ah! Enjoy the lake of fire, fucker!
But then Jesus had to go down onto the planet Earth and preach the word of the Lord to the dinosaurs. And he was not happy about, I'm not going down there. You must go down. That's your job. That's what the son does. All right, I'll go down. So he goes down and he goes on the world and there's dinosaurs everywhere. Said Jesus, trying to blend in. And he goes into a dinosaur bar. As soon as he walks in, all the dinosaurs stop what they're doing. Glang, 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 glang.
You ever notice how people who believe in creationism look really unevolved?